This is your Jag Intramural Game of the Week Extra Point. I'm the voice of Jag Intramural, Stephen Newhouse, and with me, as always, is my co-host, the noticeable and lovable Megan Williams. Alright, Megan, we had a big game. Of our game of the week was the Vets versus Com A, with the Vets squeaking by and sneaking out with a victory 27-19 over Com A. But the number 2 team ranked team in the SN poll will not be playing football the rest of the season.
No, they will not. In fact, the Vets have completely withdrawn themselves from flag football here at Intramurals after that debacle of a championship game they played last year when they all proceeded to walk off the field during the game. Steven, any insight on this?
Great game, great hype, great matchup, poor ending.
Very poor.
It was a dream matchup, a dream game. Game lived up to the hype. Then Ricky Ruffin's big head self just totally ruined it and turned it into a nightmare.
A nightmare.
And
Indeed.
I said I will never forgive him for that.
Yeah.
And even during today's broadcast, he turned down an interview, and we just here trying to get the story, but they will not be back this season. But a team that will be back is the Orange Cannons, the number 1 team ranked in the SN poll this week, and they cruised to a 28-0 victory over It's Whatever.
Well, that victory is short-lived because their offense is whatever. Their defense, whatever. They play the game of football like it's whatever. So the Orange Cannon had a gimme.
Well, I don't know if it was a gimme so much, because the Orange Cannons defense is very underrated. Most people talk about their offense, and they have a great offense with a great quarterback. They can sling the ball along there with anybody, but this defense is underrated. So do you think it was the Orange Cannons defense, or It's Whatever just not being able to get anything going on offense?
I think It's Whatever's offense is whatever, so they played like the game was whatever, and therefore they got a whatever kind of result.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Team Face, the number 3 ranked team in the SN poll this week. They'll surely move up after a big victory over the Warriors, 28-6, led by their star quarterback and captain, Rufio Young. And he might not be the tallest guy, and he might not be able to throw it 80 yards. But one thing you cannot question is this guy's heart and determination.
Yes, Rufio comes out every week. He plays with a lot of heart, a lot of leadership on and off the field, and he has a great team behind him.
I think Rufio was getting ready for Halloween during the game today. He had a little werewolf Michael Jackson Thriller thing going on or something. I'm not sure. But they should be a team to reckon with this year.
Yes, they will be.
So let's talk about the New York Yankees, the evil empire of this program, the Pilgers Insurance Agency. All right, guys, we said it right. You don't have to send us hate mail, email, march on the field house. You don't have to do any of that. But they did march all over the Daredevils today. But that was just the start for the Daredevils, as they just dropped not 1, but 2 games. This is a top 10 team that just dropped 2 games. What happened?
I just think the Daredevils didn't show up ready to play. They had a doubleheader, and they weren't ready the first time, and they weren't ready the second time. That guy Mike has Showtime on the back of his jersey, but clearly they were not ready.
Yeah, they were just horrible, and they'll surely probably drop out of the top 10 this week. Let's talk about the Bad News Kennels. And the Kennels had a great game, did everything perfect today against the Browncoats, except they allowed a safety on a reverse.
How do you do that? How do you stop them all the way until a safety? You give them 2 points? Bad news for the Bad News Kennels.
Yeah, this team spells their S's with Z's. Weird. I don't know why they do that. Just a little kinky little thing they have going on there. And one thing, they are athletic. This is going to be a good team. But one thing that worries me is their sportsmanship. And this is one thing that Brian definitely emphasizes in the program.
That sportsmanship will hurt them when playoffs come.
Yeah. You just can't just celebrate when the team's down 27-2. Well, let's talk about the shutout. Who got shut out? The number 5 team ranked in the SN poll. They got shut out by the Hitmen. First of all, who are the Hitmen? And what happened to shutout?
I think the Hitmen just showed up ready to play. I've seen them practicing out there, and they were ready to play. And we busted shutout a couple of weeks ago about having players that were illegal, so they came out with a whole new squad, and they just weren't prepared.
Apparently, they had high school players.
Yes.
Who knew that high school players can make such a big difference? But shutout got shut out, and so they'll probably drop out of the poll this week. So let's talk about the fraternities a little bit. Let's talk about KA, who played earlier in the day. They had a 16-12 squeaker against Pike. But KA is going to lose a key member of their team.
Yes, Mr. Dustin Mosley will not be playing for them any longer. He took up a job somewhere else for $18 an hour. I wonder what Gino's going to do now.
Well, I'll tell you, I think Dustin's one of the best receivers out here in the program because he's that third down guy. He's that fourth down guy. He's that guy you go to in the red zone. He is the go-to guy. He's the Julio Jones of KA, the Larry Fitzgerald of KA. He's that big target that you throw at. So, with him gone, who are you throwing at?
I have no idea. Gino's going to have to work really hard to get someone else to replace Mr. Dustin Mosley.
Well, I'm sure if anybody can figure it out, it'll probably be Gino.
Yes.
Let's talk about my man Joe Graham. Joe Graham. He didn't have one. He didn't have two. 3, 4 interceptions. 4.
That guy was on fire today. He was all over the field, jumping really high, catching balls. He was just at it. I don't know what that guy had before he came, but he was ready to play.
He's perfectly named. He's perfectly named. He's on the right team because he's on the fire, and he was just blazing. And we'll get a chance to see him next week in the game of the week between the Fire versus Team Face. What do you think he had to eat this morning?
I have no idea.
I gotta get me some. I think Have you ever tried this Red Bull Frosted Flakes? Hey, I think Chuck Norris did that, so I'm gonna do it when I get off. Yeah. So, like I said earlier, the game of the week next week will be Team Face taking on Fire. We'll see if Fire can get a big win over Team Face. It'll probably be ranked number 2 in the program. Any thoughts on the game for next week?
If Fire can get this win and they can pull this one out, I think they will be much respected in our program.
All right, we'll see if we can get this respect. And you can find shows just like this and others on the blog, on the Jag blog, or you can go to youtube.com/Jag Intramurals for shows just like this. Well, we're out of time for this week, so we'll see you next week on the Jag Intramurals Game of the Week Extra Point.